Welcome back to episode 88 of the Hops and Bops podcast. I am producer Tom.
And I am Joe.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Nice to be me.
Nice to be. It is nice to be you.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Anyway.
Good shit.
We are doing my little EP this time. It's been a whole week since we've recorded our last one, so it's finally good to
whole
meet
entire
you both.
week. Feel like I never left.
I know. Well, we're doing the In Tongues EP by Joji, a very interesting artist to me. And to pair with that, we have Two Roads new, I think it's their newest beer out they have right now, the Tucon Easy Ale, kind of in collaboration. I don't maybe not collaboration, but at least using the University of Connecticut's branding and logo and what have you on the outside of the label. And yeah, I have not seen it. I've seen it all over the place. They're pushing it hard.
Oh yeah.
And but I've been yet to try it yet. So
also a little blind taste test.
A little bit of a blind taste test, if you will.
Yes, crack it.
Oh, I did not get the glass, so at least with Joe's you will get the glass.
The coloring and they actually have TwoConn glasses at Two Roads, which are pretty dope.
Really? Speaking of Two Roads, there's a certain band playing there soon.
Actually, this episode drops the day after we play there.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, not to take away from the podcast, but
yes,
very, very excited. We got a show at Two Roads. It's something I personally have been working on for a very long time. I've been trying to get in there, and that's it takes time. And I really like the trajectory we're on right now, and we are played. But at the time of recording this, we are playing Two Roads Memorial Day weekend, Saturday the 28th.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's going to be great. We're really excited. I'm really excited. And yeah, so awesome. Thanks so much to Two Roads for booking us the Smoove series, and excited for it. Hope it goes well. Hope the weather is good. That's the linchpin. So
linchpin, I like that word.
I think I'm using that correctly.
I believe you.
But back to the beer.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yep. Good color, transparent.
It's an easy ale, so it's not like an IPA or any kind of other thing. So it's only 4.3%, so very, very low.
Yep.
So let's try it out.
Yes.
Cheers. Cheers. It's very easy.
Yeah, I mean, they're going after a craft Bud Light, But it's
perfect.
better. It's better than that.
Oh, absolutely. That's perfect.
Listen, honestly, kudos to both Two Roads and UConn for this, because Two Roads trying to appeal to their next wave of customers, getting them early. It's kind of like when you see, like, I don't know, certain commercials on like Nickelodeon, like try to, the kids are getting older, try like a certain toy or something, like, you're just about to graduate college. There's these things called craft breweries in Connecticut. There's over 120 of them. Let's get you in the door drinking this, and then we can show you what else we have.
Yeah.
It's a great way of putting it. Right. And then kudos to UConn for doing this, because just branding, like, you can't go wrong. This is Connecticut in a can, really. So honestly, just kudos to them. And I'm surprised that UConn agreed to do this, because you would think the majority of their student body is underage, and do they really want to be associated with beer and alcohol?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's something I was kind of caught off guard by, because I mean, maybe it's just a region thing. Like, I don't know of any other colleges that have paired with breweries.
Right.
Because you don't really want to, I mean, you're associated with a higher learning and trying, that's like your main thing, is to push kids into, learning.
Mhm.
But with them kind of being like, hey, we're a party school too, it's like, well, it's kind
Right.
of a strange branding. But
Right.
Two Roads is probably one of my favorite breweries of all time. They are incredibly solid with everything they put out. They're always trying new things, even at Area 2. They're
Mhm.
kind of experimental brewery. I think this is part of that. I could be wrong, but it says it on the website.
This
It's got
is,
the logo next to it.
I'm pretty sure this is just a Two Roads brew.
Yeah.
I know they have it in the main tap room. I've seen it there. Um,
Um, yeah, they have a blurb on their website. I'll read out for you.
yep.
Calling all UConn alumni and Husky fans. You don't have to be. I am a Husky fan. I do enjoy them. I used to go to games with my grandpa all the time, but I actually turned down the UConn's offer to me when going to college. I went to University of Hartford. Go
Aha.
Hawks, baby.
Go
Anyway,
Hawks.
introducing Tucon Easy Ale. We are excited and honored to announce that we are furthering the partnership between Two Roads and UConn Athletics with a brand new Connecticut beer collaboration. Tucon is an easy drinking golden ale that's crisp, refreshing, and perfect to enjoy while cheering on the UConn Huskies on game day or anytime you want to show your Connecticut pride. Tucon is available year round in 12-ounce 12-pack cans, 16-ounce 4-pack cans, on draft at bars and restaurants throughout the state and at any of UConn's stadium venues. That's probably why they did a pairing to it as well, is because they wanted to sell it at their games too.
That right
So
there is just a genius play. I
yeah,
mean, even down to just the fucking name of it, Tucon. Like I love naming and like rhyming, and I love all of that stuff. And this is just genius. Like Two Roads, UConn rhymes with Tucon. Like it's just fucking genius. And to
yeah.
get it in the stadiums, like it's almost like the official beer of UConn athletics, like at their stadiums. It's a big deal. Good for them.
And yeah, no, Joe, you nailed it 100%. Sometimes we'll talk about in music, like the song that they had to put out. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is kind of the taste of the beer they had to put out too. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you want to make something widespread and available and the public is going to like it, you want to make it really easygoing, not insanely hoppy, not too complex with its flavors. You want something that's going to fit in with the Miller Lights, Bud Lights, Coors Lights. And that's not to say that this is in that same range of taste. I do think it's a bit more crisp. It's got that golden ale kind of feel to it, even though it's called an easy ale.
Right.
It definitely has a bit more body to it than I would say one of those easier drinks does.
For sure.
But yeah, no, they basically were like, okay, let's make something as widespread that we can put in restaurants around the area and in the Connecticut area,
Mm-hmm.
and put them at, you can sell a solo cup of it at a basketball game for $13.
Yeah. And
And,
it's a pretty decent beer,
yeah, it's not
while it
bad.
is, yeah, it's a simple beer. It's not like you're saying, it's not like an IPA or a double IPA, anything like that. It's a, it's an ale. It's kind of in the, like we said, the Bud Light family, but it's better than that. So you're grabbing the students and grad students and graduates and alumni who are just insane about their alma mater,
Mhm.
and you're grabbing young people who are trying out craft beers for the first time. You're grabbing beer fans because it's a good beer. It's not like a sellout. I don't think this is a sellout beer at all. I think you're giving it's almost like the branding makes it sound like a sellout, like, oh, here they go, they partnered with a college for their sports and all that. But the beer, I mean, they walk the walk right now. The beer is really good.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but could you imagine if they made Tucon and it's like a better like Little Heaven or something like that? Like
Yeah.
that would be insane.
Yeah.
But I understand, you know, it's you market it towards the alumni and Husky fans, which makes
Yeah.
sense now that I think about it. They're not marketing it towards the Connecticut UConn campuses.
Right. But we
They're
all
marketing
know.
it towards the
Yeah.
alumni and the older Husky fans.
Right.
And they put that in all bold, in all caps right at the very
Yeah.
beginning to make sure, hey, we're not marketing this towards the students right now.
Exactly. Yep.
Which is kind of
And
funny. But
I mean, also too, this is what you would want to drink at a sporting event. It's light. You can drink a lot of them. It doesn't weigh you down sitting in the seat, you know, eating your hot dog or chicky tenders or whatever. You know, this is what you would want, but at a better level.
Yeah. And I think part of why I'm not as blown away, or not, maybe not as like, I understand why they did it feeling, is because I know what Two Roads has put out. You know,
Yeah.
I think Little Heaven and Cloud Sourced are probably two of my favorite beers of all time, or at least up there in the conversation. And I know I've had Peach Jam and all the other kind of variations that they've put out. They're all really, really great. So I know Two Roads' potential. And so for them to make this style of beer and market it in the way that they did, it's pretty genius in the way they did it. So
yeah,
I think a part of it is that we kind of became beer snobs over the years doing this show. So to have something that's like that, I can understand why I'm not like head over heels over it. But if you want an easy beer, or if you're used to drinking, you know, all these light beers and you want something in that same style, but want to maybe venture away from those types of brands, I would easily recommend this.
Yeah, for sure. Want something a little more elevated, a little more reputable than, you know, those, you know, big market brands. You know, grab a 6 or 12 of this.
Once you graduate college, and I think Mike said this, you stop drinking shitty beers.
Yes.
So now that you have a job, or even if you don't, you have the money to get a better beer than a fucking Coors. So get a Tucon. And they weren't like that expensive, if I remember right. For a 6-pack, they're like not that pricey.
I think this was like $13, if I remember right, something like that.
Not,
like not bad.
At all,
yeah, not bad. I mean, you know, granted, we're all you know, working professionals now. Yeah. But for a college kid, it might be a little out of budget. But like if you're going to a bar or one of the games and they have this, like it's cool. Like your college is on a can of beer. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good for them. I'm a branding like sucker. I think
corporate show.
I think that's why I like this so much. It is the idea and the concept behind it and the partnership. You know, well done. A good opportunity seized by both parties. So, yeah.
Anyway, let's transition over into the EP of choice this week. It is In Tongues by Joji, came out in 2017, his first commercial release into being an artist. This is a very, very interesting release for me because I have been a fan of George Miller, aka Joji, aka Filthy Frank, aka Pink Guy, whatever you want to call him. He goes by a lot of different monikers. Now it's just mainly Joji. I've been a fan of him for a very long time. If you are at least somewhat familiar with him, you will know his work as Filthy Frank on YouTube. He had a very successful YouTube channel, which is where he gained a very big following. He has over, I think, about 6 million subscribers on there. So very, very popular. He made very crude videos. Some of my favorites are Hair Cake, which is where they made a cake, but they shaved their friend's head. And then they put all the hair in a cake and then tried to eat the cake. And then they threw up everywhere. It was really good. They also did Vomit Cake, which is same idea, except they used the guy's stomach to mix the cake up. It was very funny. He would also do like really weird pranks where he would just like sit next to people in New York and like eat ravioli out of it, like his shirt pocket. It was very weird, very, very strange stuff, but he was funny in the way he did it. It was like the time of like 2015, 2016, where people were like kind of edgy on the internet just to kind of gain followers. But he was funny, and in the way that he did it, he was authentic. He was definitely his own spirit. And then YouTube became a little bit more of a family-oriented place. That's when the adpocalypse happened, where a lot of advertisers took away their advertising money from YouTube because it was kind of seen as an edgy place. And I think
too much of a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's when PewDiePie said the N-word and people were like, oh, you can't do that. No. So a lot of people took their money away. And then Joji stopped making videos as much or as frequently. And he had always put out music on like SoundCloud and these other smaller platforms. And I've been aware of that, but he also put out stuff under Pink Guy, which is where his kind of crudeness and humor played into some of these tracks. But that was kind of seen as like a bit of like a Lonely Island kind of stuff, but
Mhm.
a bit more modern, a bit more Gen Z, a little bit more Zoomer humor. Um, but this is when he started to actually put out like serious music. Um, 2017. He at this point he was pretty much done completely with YouTube and stuff under Pink Guy. Um, and I think it's really good. It's I do have a bit more of like an emotional attachment to it because I was a bit younger. I was a freshman in college. I was still kind of discovering where I really enjoyed music. I think 2018 is kind of where I had this musical renaissance of like, oh, here's a bunch of albums that I think are really highly rated. So
Mhm.
um it was also ties in emotionally because as you can tell, or if you haven't listened to it, um, is a bit of a slower album, a bit more of a moody in your feelings, retrospective listen. Um, and that can kind of play into it as well. I think I was just not great emotionally that year too. I won't get into it obviously, but I think I
I'm
have a
here
bit
for
more
you, Tom, if you ever want to.
dog. My day one, Joe. um, but it's a great album or a great EP, at least in my opinion. Maybe it does sound a little bit amateurish on repeated listens, but I mean for a first release or first commercial release, um I think it's pretty good. He also released it on the label 88 Rising, which I believe they focus specifically on Asian American artists. The other really big artist is Rich Bryan. He blew up right around that same time, and they're kind of the two co-headliners on that label. And now Joji's singing at like Coachella. He did like a tour, or like a worldwide tour. He's bigger than he's ever been. He put out an album in 2020 called Nectar, um, which was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. My favorite album from his is Ballads One, which came out a year after this in 2018, which I will definitely bring on the podcast. Just I gotta get through some albums first before that. Um, but yeah, the big single off this was Will He, which was the opener.
Okay.
That was kind of put out way before all of this, and then he put this out, and yeah, I really enjoy it.
I see.
I'm interested to see what you will take away from this because it is kind of out of our wheelhouse.
Yes. My first question is I don't know if you were saving this till later, but you gave us, I think it was Mike, you gave a Joji song on one of our stocking stuffer episodes. Where does that fall chronologically, like with this EP?
Yes, so um, this came out 2017. His album Ballads One, I believe, came out in 2018,
Okay.
and then Nectar came out in 2020.
Okay.
So the song I gave Mike, I think, was Run, which was on
Hmm.
Nectar in
Okay.
2020. So that was a
Gotcha. So
single
a little
may have
more.
came out. Yeah, that one's the more recent one. He definitely
Okay.
is way poppier nowadays. He doesn't really put out these kind of tracks anymore. There
Yeah.
was a little taste of it on Nectar here and there, but this is definitely his most lo-fi, his most like bedroom pop aesthetic that he's ever put out. And it's
Yes.
definitely, if you're used to his catalog, a bit different of a vibe than what he's putting out now. um I will say his writing and style does get a lot better. This sounds like he kind of did it all by himself, and that's kind of the style that he's always been portrayed as, kind of
Hmm.
a guy sitting in his bed, like making stuff on his laptop in Ableton or Fruity Loops or something. But then
Yeah.
when he got to that label, he kind of got more producers, more features, more this, more that, and it became a bit more commercial and much more popular. There are a
Okay.
couple traps, couple tracks off of this that got really big. Like
Uh-huh.
Will He and World Star Money Interlude got very,
Hmm.
very big. I think World
Hmm.
Star Money Interlude is like his third most popular track on Spotify right now.
Okay, cool.
So he's there is some appeal that still goes on with this
Hmm.
to this day. But yeah.
Um, yeah, so back to that song you gave Mike. I
Yes.
remember that I just listened to a few seconds of Run. I don't know if that was it, but I remember it having kind of like a more like rockier edge, whatever song you chose.
Yeah.
So that was my first impression of Joji. And when I started listening to this, I was like, it was just a completely different sound.
Yeah.
So I literally had no idea then, because this was different than that one song. I will say, this was an interesting listen for me. It was a little tough. I couldn't really get into it quickly. It was slower, like you said, a little more subdued. But I thought it ended strong, which we'll get to. Yeah. So shall we get
Yeah.
into it?
Yeah. Will He is the opener.
Mhm.
Again, like one of the bigger tracks to come off of this album. Still currently 261 million streams. So he
Shit, man.
definitely, I think he kind of got a little bit of a boost going into music because he had so many subscribers and followers and fans from these social media platforms like YouTube, that it kind of gave him a running start, like a head start in his music career. And I think
Mhm.
that's what really propelled him to where he is today. If this came out from some no-name kid in Indiana, like, would it get as popular as it is now? I don't know.
Right.
But
Right.
I think there is some musical ability behind it. I think that it's emotionally potent, and it is a little like stinging. Obviously it's heartbroken themes up and down the entire album. Very melancholy. I think it's about like an ex-girlfriend or something.
Mhm.
Um, cool music video attached to it too. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I think it's, obviously I'm a little bit more biased because it is the first song that he ever put out. And I
Mhm.
think I'm a little bit more biased just in general because I do have that attachment to him. But I really do enjoy this. It's very stinging, and kind of portrays some kind of messy fall apart of Joji.
Mhm.
And yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. This just from a blind kind of
Yeah.
jump right in, it was tough for me to kind of get into this. It was kind of a little monotonous for me. It was kind of tough to make out the lyrics and see what he was saying. I do like how it was kind of dark, and it was kind of like gloomy and
Yeah,
doomy.
a little mysterious.
Yeah, I kind of liked that feeling of the song, but the song itself isn't my favorite. Yeah, it just didn't have enough spice for me. I don't know. But like you said, you're biased. I mean, you're connected to this, and we all have those albums and artists that we immediately jump into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a deluxe version of this album that was put out where he did put out two extra songs, and then the most of it is just like remixed versions of these songs.
Okay.
And that came out, I think, the same year or the year after. But that's I wanted just to focus on the original six tracks that were put out just as an EP because um I listened to it when it came out. I still have that kind of emotional, like it does kind of give me a bit of a nostalgic feeling to it. So maybe
Hmm.
I'm looking through this album with the nostalgia goggles, but
Yeah, it's hard
I
not
think
to,
it, yeah, I think it does have its merits.
Hmm.
There are some tracks that I think are a little amateurish and rough around the edges, but
Hmm.
we'll get there. The next track is Pills.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not crazy about this one either.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, where he's talking about taking Zoloft and Xanax to kind of cope and maintain with his feelings of being left from this person or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And they're used to treat like major depressive episodes. I have family members that take them, and it may be using the addiction of the physical pills also as a reference to the girl he feels that he's addicted to and needs back, maybe as like a double entendre to taking the pills as well. But yeah, it could have used a bit more variation for me. It does kind of
Hmm.
stay one note monotone through most of the instrumental.
Hmm.
I kind of like the chain shackle sounds that are played in the background.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of ties into the theme as well. I think there was a oh no, I'm thinking of Demons. There was a music video released for that where he's actually in chains.
Okay.
Um,
There's an effect there that I kind of like. It's like whatever they use for the snare. It was a cool, like ongoing
yeah,
effect. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I agree though. Having again, not having much context, having this song follow Will He was kind of a tough start for me because they're both, moody and dark and gloomy. So it was, and again, you can't really tell what he's saying. So it was kind of hard for me to like connect to something. I nothing really grabbed me yet. Um,
hmm
but I thought this song had a lot of like Tyler the Creator vibes.
I could see it.
Yeah. Like how he's singing and the notes he's hitting, and then kind of the production of the song with the effects. It sounded like something that could have been on like Igor. I don't know. Again, from outsider's perspective, I just kind of heard that song style to me. I don't know.
hmm Demons comes up after that.
Mhm.
This one actually, I think I mistake them. This one actually has the chain sound effect like pretty heavily in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
kind of talks about his inner demons and struggles that he has with him and how this person doesn't really understand them, and he tries to warn her of things that come up and attempts to reassure. At the same time, he keeps saying, "This is not a threat, I promise. It's a warning, baby. I just want you to know." I think this one is what Pills could have been if it was a bit more written and fleshed out. Um, a little bit one note as well in the instrumental, but I like that piano and leaving it a bit empty on purpose to
Yeah.
kind of highlight and it does play a bit more into those darker tones and a little bit very synthetic drum sound.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I love the ending too, where it's just kind of him coasting out on these really glistening, like open piano notes and him kind of saying, "I've seen enough.
Mhm.
Please just let me go. Let me go. I've seen enough," kind of referring back to those demons and these chains that are kind of keeping him back. Interesting, vibey, moody, darker track. And I think this one, it connects with me emotionally the most. So
Cool.
I like this one. This is a good one.
Yeah, this one finally gave me something to grab onto, that distinct drum beat and the little piano accents in there. Like while it was dark and gloomy, there was something like breaking through. There were a couple things breaking through where the first two tracks from an instrumental standpoint were it just pretty monotone, like we said. So this is kind of where it started for me. I was like, okay, all right, I can
Yeah.
listen to this. Yeah.
Yep.
Window is
Yep.
next.
Yeah.
This one cool. It has a really cool drum beat. It's simplistic. I like that, a lot of time. And it could be me being biased, like playing drums. Like I do better with songs where there's a beat I can follow, and then it varies off from there with the effects and the 808s and the accents and then and everything. But as far as other things the rest of the song offers, I don't know. I don't know. This was a tough one for me, Tom. So, but like we've learned, it's cool hearing the other person talk about it, and you can kind of learn, a different perspective from it. So,
Yeah. This one I can understand why it's not like as like this one. At least the instrumental has a little bit more of something there. You can kind of grasp onto that drum loop a little bit more, or not loop, but it kind of doesn't stay the exact same, or kind of throw in some notes here and there that kind of changes it up. But again, stays with that same theme of depressive, almost. I think at this point he's kind of getting to the point of like suicidal thoughts, talking about like, I see nothing out that window, I don't need an antidote, forever we don't want to drive slow, speed up with our eyes closed. I'm pretty sure this kind of takes it interpolates, I believe, Travis Scott's song Antidote,
Okay.
where he kind of I don't fucking, I don't know, how does that song go? Anyway, it steals that kind of same chorus lining. And he's saying, and the sun will shine no more, I've been holding on too long. Same general lyrical bits here and there, but this is probably like his lowest emotionally. Eyes closed, head down, ice cold meltdown as it ends. It's like, damn. So
it is pretty powerful lyrics. I wish I could like, and again, say it all the time, I don't really listen to singing and lyrics that much and try and make sense of it, but I wish I could understand him more. But that's just his singing style. That's him. That's his artistic, offering. But I just, from someone who has literally zero experience with him, it would have been nice to understand, the lyrics more. But
yeah. And I can understand that too. It's definitely, I am a bit biased, and that's it is what it is,
Yeah.
So and I will agree, I think this album is a little bit it's a little bit too lo-fi for its own good. It's very amateurish in its release, and that while that can be off-putting from a first point, like a first listener's perspective, being around it at the time, it did have its own charming abilities to it. It was amateur, but it was real, and it was actually them putting it out. You could tell that it was, you get to like these so many fucking industry plants or just rich like kids that, or like you get to like Jaden Smith or whatever, he's like, I have all this money and all this clout, I'm gonna make an album, and then it sounds like 30 people worked on it, and it sounds like it had millions of dollars of backing money put into it, and you're gonna get the bare minimum out of that. You're gonna get a song that has 4 chords and is gonna be put on the radio, or will end up in some kind of Spotify playlist and get 20 million streams or whatever it is. But this one, it just sounds like the guy that you've been watching for the past 6 years make a song in his bedroom or in his bathroom or in his kitchen or whatever it is, and then put it out. And then it's very dark and emotional, which is something you didn't see in the content that was put out beforehand, because it was all goofy and making fun of people and like just kind of like not really torturing yourself, but like kind of making, they would do like shot caller challenges and stuff like that. And so it's very raw, I think, like a little bit too raw. But it's him. It's just all him. I'm pretty sure there aren't anyone else working on this. There might be a different like publisher, but it's produced and written by Joji himself. So yeah. So while I can understand on first listens, there's not anything to really grab onto. I think it does require a little bit of studying up on who he is as a person and being in that mindset in 2017, like being there, boots on the ground,
It's cool, like to have this be kind of his first serious, venturing into music, coming out of his YouTube, personality and things like that. Like that must have been cool, if you followed him as a YouTube personality and then into this. It's cool. Yeah.
And a bit of me thinks that he's basically just putting some feelers out there too, to like see what sticks. And like, well, the Pink Eye, his other persona, had a lot of popularity. He had a song like with like 200 million streams, I think it was called STFU.
Okay.
You might have heard it as like a joke song, but you can't really sustain a full career on making like joke comedy songs.
Yeah.
And so I think once he gets a little bit more personal, And then, well, he's like, okay, let's put out a serious album, but I'm feeling terrible right now. Like I'm going through this whole emotional ordeal. Let's translate that into a song, and then we can make a kind of release out of that. And then I think this is what you get, you know. So this is him kind of just feeling out his crowd to see like, hey, would you be okay if I put out something emotional and raw? And
Mhm.
people went fucking nuts over this. So he was like, okay, well, let's lean more into that, but maybe throw more producers, throw like a Trippie Redd or like a Drake feature on it or whatever. I don't think he's done a Drake feature actually, but that would be cool.
Mhm.
And then he ends up going to perform at Coachella. So
It's awesome.
it's a
Good for him.
great career choice, I guess, on his part.
Yeah, for sure.
But to keep the review going, we get to Bitter Fuck on track 5. This is not my favorite track. Very repetitive for me. That instrumental really just like sticks in my craw, you know.
This
I
is my
like.
favorite song.
Is it really?
Yeah, I love this song. The song title,
Mhm.
the I'm a bitter fuck. Like I just
Because I'm a bitter
I
fuck.
like, yeah, I like that. And it gave me like a hook that I would. It's not that I was like dying for it, but like for someone who doesn't listen to this artist or style of music, it gave me something that to appreciate out of the release. You know,
Yeah.
that those guitar chords was, you know, a stripped down thing that I'm kind of used to.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, like it was kind of humorous, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, he gets a lot more like introspective on this track. He's like, oh, this is what you did to me, and like I need to realize like I'm very bitter after this, you know. I'm
Right.
mad, I feel unclean. You don't know me, what the fuck you mean? You made me sad and now you made me mean because I'm a bitter fuck. And then he's realizing what's going on. So kind
Right.
of a self-reflective kind of thing.
Mhm.
um I do like how he brought in different instrumentals, or like instruments. He brought in a guitar instead of just making it all piano based or kind of synthetic. Still kind of sounds like he made it in like GarageBand or something, which I
Yep.
think is his DAW. I think he did work with GarageBand for this whole thing. I
Mhm.
think I
Okay.
saw that in an interview somewhere. The only thing that sticks with me, this song is very repetitive. And I know
Yeah.
I can understand from your point of view where, you know, you want something that you want a hook, you know. Where, but when he gets for like the multiple don't fuck with me's, and kind of, you know, they call me bitter fuck and now I don't give a fuck. It did
Yeah,
get
the
repetitive,
lyrical content, it's repetitive. Yeah. I can definitely
but
understand
yeah,
that.
I like the trap influenced drum beats or
Yeah.
hi-hats.
Yeah.
um yeah, I'm glad you liked it though.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I think this is my my top track for sure.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Um yeah.
i'm
Bitter
i'm
fuck.
I'm reading on Genius. In the visual for the EP, this song plays while action figures are caught on fire and melted. Many of the figures' faces, their most identifiable parts, are burnt first. This visual plays into themes related to the temporary and fragile nature of social identity. Joji's identity has been damaged just like the toys' faces were.
The more you know.
Kind of neat. Also, on the clean version of the EP, the song is titled Bitter. Because I'm a bitter. You call me a bitter?
They couldn't even come up with like a word replacement.
Because I'm a bitter frick.
Yeah. Bitter buck.
You call me bitter butt. Oh, anyway,
Yep,
it all wraps up with World Star Money Interlude,
it
track
does.
6. This is a ukulele driven track. Obviously about love and questioning your mental state a little bit. Starts off with like a family or some kind of domestic argument in the beginning.
Mhm.
Kind of bleeds into this ukulele sound. I think that's a really cool way to start off the track. Kind of feels like it kind of leans more into like this whole he made it in his bedroom kind of feel, with like his parents arguing in the back or whatever it was. um this was originally released in 2016, early 2016, which is a full year before this came out, on SoundCloud. I think I remember hearing this about that. The why it's called World Star Money is because of the website of World Star Hip Hop. The beginning and like other sampled bits of fighting are from the website, which mainly features people fighting or like famous people fighting or whatever it is. I really like this track. This track is my favorite, actually. It sticks out a lot more in the context of the album, brings a whole different vibe to things. The ukulele, I think, adds a lot more than it's given credit for. Is it simple? Is it basic? A little bit. I understand that. But I do like the kind of glitchy middle section he brings up, that kind of different drum pattern that's played in there. And it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and it's heartwarming. I like it. It's my favorite.
Agreed. I also like this song a lot. So the last two tracks was pretty much it saved me. Because I there wasn't a lot for me to get into on the first four.
It's fair.
But again, as an outsider, like, you know, it's not my
okay.
Not my jam. But these last two songs were cool. Now that you're explaining how like there's the family fighting, it's almost kind of like, and he's like recording in his bedroom, like you get that vibe. It's kind of like the person playing the song on ukulele, that's kind of like their piece. There's all this distant noise behind them and shit going on and arguing and everything. And here you are in your own space, in your own head, playing ukulele, which is just a peaceful instrument to begin with. And you can kind of hear that in the production, how like the fighting's distant, but the ukulele is right in front. And I thought that was like a really cool perspective now that you've explained, you know, the thought behind the beginning of the track.
Yeah, it's a cool contrast to have. And you know, it's the shortest on the album by a fair bit. It's only 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And you know, on a short enough EP to have the closer be a short enough track be my favorite, it's kind of a cool way to put that. So kind of a sweet ending to it, to this very snake bitten album, kind of to end on a bit of like a more secluded, not really happy, but somewhat of an uplifting note.
Maybe peaceful, you know, a peaceful.
Peaceful is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I did like that disjointed drum beat ukulele kind of accented, how like nothing really it's kind of like they were all playing in the same time signature, but one player like started off beat. Like it was just cool how it was like disjointed, but it kind of worked, you know. I really enjoyed that.
That's gonna do it. That is the entire EP, In Tongues by Joji. I do look at it a little bit nostalgically, but I can understand it does have some flaws. But it's raw, it's emotional, it's him, it's not overproduced, it's not whatever. He basically just made it by himself and put it out for his fans, and I was one of them, and it really connected with me on an emotional level at the time, and I really enjoyed it. So let's jump into some tracks.
Let's do it.
Let's start with our favorites. We did kind of mention them already. Mine is World Star Money Interlude, for all the reasons I just said.
And mine's gonna be Bitter Fuck. I just thought, like, out of the previous 4 songs where he's kind of just in a low point, and musically and lyrically, that was kind of a cool like switch in perspective. I just found like the whole way how he named the song Bitter Fuck and kept saying I thought that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, which actually I'm thinking that might be the episode title, Tongue-in-Cheek. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll
think about
it. Discuss. Yeah, we'll think about it. That's my favorite track.
Joe, what is your least favorite though?
Least favorite? I think I'm gonna go with Pills. Will He? I know that was a big song for him. It wasn't my favorite, but then to follow that up with Pills when it had kind of a similar tone to it, a similar feel to it, having that back to back was kind of tough for me. And Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that as my
Yeah.
least favorite.
Joe, I'm sorry to do it. I did not.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of Bitter Fuck.
that's all right. Hey, what are you
I can
gonna do?
appreciate what it did. It definitely switched up the vibe, the instrumentation. It kind of was a bit more lighthearted, kind of real, a bit more introspective. I completely understand its placement on the album, but it gets a little bit too repetitive for me, and instrumentally and vocally,
Mhm.
which I think is a bit of a detriment. But I still enjoy it. Just for me, was not my favorite, but I can understand Pills too.
Yeah,
And yeah, let's do our sleepy dark horse.
the
Now,
elusive Sleepy
now
Dark Horse.
for me, if I had to pick one, it would be World Ceremony Interlude, but I already put
Right.
that as my favorite.
Yeah.
And also it's very popular on his own page as of right now. Like I said, it's his third most popular song streaming wise, as
Mhm.
278 million streams. So I won't say that. I'm probably gonna go with Demons. I thought that had a cool that chain sound that it had behind it. And I like the way that tied in lyrically with him having his own personal demons and
Mhm.
saying this is not a threat, I promise. I thought he had a lot of he showed his range, like his singing range on this too. And I like the ending where he gets a little bit more emotional and the kind of these very open piano chords that leave it on a bit of more of a question mark of an ending. So
Mhm.
Demon's probably my sleepy dark horse.
Cool. Yeah, I mean that's a good pick. For me, not knowing his history, I want to get the title right. Uh yeah, World Star Money was my sleeper. I really liked the last two tracks of the
Yeah.
EP. So I'm going to label this as my sleeper because it's a sleeper to me. It's right at the end, but I know it's pretty popular in his fan base.
Hmm.
But also because it sounded completely different than the other five songs,
Hmm.
which I really liked. Um, so yeah, I really really dug this track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's rate it,
Let
shall
it
we?
let's do it, Tom. What do you
Lettuce.
got?
I'm gonna give this EP a 7. I think
Okay.
that's a fair rating to give it. I know it's a little rough around the edges. I know it's only 6 tracks and 16 and a half minutes, but for where he was in his music career and for, you know, the situation he was in at the time where YouTube was kind of getting rid of his ad revenue and he wasn't really monetarily seeing success with Pink Guy and other kind of ventures he was seeking. I think this is incredibly commendable for someone that wrote and produced all of this by himself. I think it has a lot of merit, and to see some of these themes carried over into his more popular projects after this is something to see, and I really enjoy going along on this ride from the very beginning with Joji. So I think 7 is fair. There are a couple dud tracks that don't really do it for me, but
Mhm.
um, I do have a lot of nostalgia emotionally to this, like I said before,
Mhm.
and I enjoy it. We will also definitely be doing Ballads one sometime in the future because I fucking love that album. So
Okay, cool.
we
Yeah.
will get to that eventually, but so I think 7 is a good spot for me.
Very nice. Very nice. Um, this just kind of overall as a release just wasn't for me.
That's fair. I understand.
Yeah. I like I said, I did like the last two songs. Hearing your perspective about the lyrical content and where he came from prior to this and where he was at this point helped me out a lot, gain some more perspective. But I don't know if I'm gonna be coming back to this um anytime soon, unfortunately. I'm pretty much lockstep with my EPs here. I think I'm gonna give this a 3.5. Um,
Okay.
so that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm excited to see, what the future stuff sounds like. I know I had that one song experience, which I
Yeah,
actually really did like that song. I think it was Run. I don't
it
know.
was Run. Yeah,
It was
I
Run. Yeah.
looked at the sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool song. So I'm looking forward to another chance with Mr. Joji
Yes.
in my eardrums.
Yes, he is definitely an artist that I am always very excited for when he puts out something. He is
Cool.
right at the top of my list on New Music Friday. He's like, oh, he put out something, I gotta listen to it. So
Very cool.
hasn't put anything out since 2020, but hopefully there are inklings of a new album possibly coming out soon. So fingers
Very
crossed.
nice. But how about Tucon?
Howl about.
Howl about. Oh, well done.
Yeah. So with Tucon, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. You need to understand that it's an easy ale, which means that it's kind of marketed so that it, everyone can enjoy it. I'm self-aware enough to realize that I've become a bit of a beer nerd, a bit of a beer snob going forward. So we get to like IPAs and all that stuff. Usually that's what I tend to lean towards. But if you want to keep it very basic and you want to give something that everyone can enjoy, anyone from like, an 80-year-old grandmother to someone who just freshly turned 21 and no one under that age.
Yes.
This is something I could definitely recommend, even if you don't live in the Connecticut area and that marketing doesn't really connect with you, you can still drink this and enjoy it on a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the most deep, whatever you want to call it, but I think I'm going to give it the same rating I gave this EP, which is a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I think it's very good for what it is. And if your first comparison is like a light beer, like a Bud Light, Miller Lite kind of thing, and you're giving it a 7, it's miles ahead of that. It is the best kind of light beer that you can have. And that's where I'm sitting with it.
You made a lot of great points there, and I know we both made good points earlier. So I'm like right there with you. Listen, there is nothing complex about this beer, but that's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point. And we talked about that. They're trying to target a different demographic with this beer and offer something easy to drink at a sporting event, appeal to the state of Connecticut and its alumni, but it's a good beer. I enjoyed it. I really did. And it's a better light beer, like we're saying. So for that reason, I'm right there with you. I'm giving this a 7. And I just think the branding, the partnership, their approach to it, I'm seeing this on billboards on the highway. It's everywhere. And kudos to them. So 7 for sure. Check out this beer. If you want something easy, go for this Easy Ale. Down.
Sponsored.
Boom.
Not really, but I wish we were.
I wish one day. But yeah, good shit. So today's features.
Shout them out.
Let's do it. We have Two Roads Brewing out of Stratford, Connecticut, right down the road from me. Great Instagram account, great social media presence, great branding. Their cans have similar graphics on them to kind of make it consistent, but they each have their own label, etc. So they do a really great job.
Great brewery, great beers. At least for me, top 5 brewery in the state, or probably anywhere really. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, they have made a name for themselves. They're one of the biggest breweries in the Northeast region, and they have wide reach. So good for them.
Yeah. Then Joji, he goes by Sushi Trash on a lot of his social medias.
Okay,
that's his Instagram. I know it's Sushi Trash.
It is Sushi Trash. Yes. This guy's a lot of names.
Yes. So he doesn't put out content on his YouTube channel anymore, but that is TV Filthy Frank. I would recommend you go watch a couple of those videos because they are like out there and bizarre. I love The Gentleman's Guide. That's such a good video. Hair Cake is a great one. And they're just you got to watch them just to experience that feeling, so
I'll check them out.
Yeah, I'll have to send you some of them, but hopefully we're getting new music from him very soon. Very nice. We will see.
Very nice.
Episode 89 is coming up
89.
next.
Yes. We'll see. TBD. I know we had a couple albums planned,
Yes.
before we all got busy.
I want to circle back to Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
Yep, it was that, and then
the new Slipknot one.
Oh yeah, one of Slipknot's records. That was Mike's pick. So we know we have those two on the horizon, and we'll see. We got to leave this one on a bit of a cliffhanger. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll get all of us back in sooner or later. I know you guys are all finishing up with school and all pretty busy, so lining up is a bit of a miracle, but we will all be doing that relatively soon. Summer's coming. We will hopefully get an episode on the boats, maybe do another album on there. That was so much fun last year. So
yeah, that was cool. Yeah, we'll have to tackle that again for sure.
Yep.
Cool. Well, another episode of Hops and Bops podcast in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for the support, and follow us on all the socials. Thank you for your support there. We really appreciate it. And spread the word to your friends. The biggest compliment I've gotten about our podcast is, people may not listen to every episode, but they listen to the ones that they're interested in, whether it's the artist or the album. And we try and cover it all. So we give something for everyone to listen to. And we hope that by listening to one episode, you may try another one that you may not even be into the artist, but you like hearing us bullshit about beer and music, which is two of our favorite things. So,
and hopefully you'll get some good recommendations out of it too. Absolutely. Whether or not even if it's not the album, maybe it's the beer too. You go try it and love it. So
turn you on to something new,
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you so much. We'll check you out next episode. For Tom, I've been Joe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Almost synced it up.
I think so, yeah. On my end.